Celtics fans, we got a jam-packed show to get into, but before we do that, so like this video, otherwise the Celtics will not win the NBA Finals. Don't believe me? Well, guys are starting to get banged up. We got to reverse the trend right now, so hit that thumbs up icon, and hey, if nothing else, it clears your conscience if the Celtics don't win it all, and you're like, man, if I just liked that video, may have had a better chance. Hey, I'm superstitious, just saying, like the video if you want the Celtics to win it all. Welcome in to Boston Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Harrison Graham here with the latest Boston Celtics news and rumors. We're going to focus on some injury updates right now, and the big one is around Robert Williams, the big man who's had a nice little breakout year after getting that contract extension last offseason. He has suffered a torn meniscus, which means he will now miss at least the rest of the regular season and probably the first round of the playoffs. A meniscus injury can really be anywhere from like 3 to 8 weeks. It really just depends on the player. I'd say on average 4 to 6 is kind of what you're looking at here. So round 2 of the playoffs seems to kind of fall in line of when he could return for Boston. Let's be honest, this is a big blow because I don't think a first-round series win is a guarantee depending on who Boston plays. Brooklyn's hovering down there at 7 or 8. That could easily be a 1-8, 2-7 matchup with Boston. So to lose Robert Williams for a first-round playoff series, a guy who's averaging a double-double basically, I'd say that's a pretty big deal. 2 blocks per game as well. You're going to suffer defensively, and we've talked about this on Celtics Today really the past couple of seasons, is that Boston's front court depth isn't great. Robert Williams has become that go-to guy down there, but you don't have him now. So he's banged up. He's going to miss, at least the next few weeks, probably the entire first round of the playoffs. So this is one to monitor. Out for season, regular season. Hopefully he returns in the playoffs, but keep an eye on this because this is a major blow for the Celtics. Now, Jayson Tatum is also banged up. Now, he's not dealing with a, hardcore injury, but his knee has been sore. Missed the game against the Raptors in which they lost in overtime. Doesn't sound super serious, but I think Boston's kind of balancing, doing a little load management down the stretch to have him full throttle for the playoffs. But obviously, anything related to the knee is going to at least bring up a minor level of concern. Here's what Tatum had to say about the knee soreness he's dealing with. Quote, "It's still something that we have to maintain and keep an eye on a day-to-day basis, but nothing extremely to worry about." I'm not worried about Tatum. We know he's going to play, especially in the big games come playoff time. We know that. But, again, it's something to monitor. This is your best player. So, if anything, maybe it means he's 90% instead of 100%. And that still factors in when you're trying to make runs in these playoffs because every team you play is good. And you need your soldiers to be as close to 100% as possible. We already know Robert Williams is going to miss some time. We know Jaylen Brown has been banged up. Al Horford currently or missed the last game with personal reasons. That's not a big deal. But at the same time, Brown, Tatum, Williams, those are maybe your 3 best guys right now. I mean, you need these guys to go, and you're already going to be without Robert Williams. Brown and Tatum I'm not as concerned about, but obviously they're big players, and it's worth keeping an eye on. And let's be honest, you don't want injuries popping up this time of year, regardless of how serious they are. I mean, you're in the stretch run. Try to make a push for that number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. You're right there. This is the time to finish strong and carry that over into the playoffs. So hopefully nothing serious beyond Robert Williams, but we'll continue to monitor it here on Celtics Today. If you hate injuries, type me. No one likes them. Even, I don't wish injuries on my worst enemy at the end of the day. So type me if you can't stand injuries. A little bit of news here on Celtics Today. Juwan Morgan, 10-day contract with Boston, and due to some other injuries on the roster, minor stuff, bring him in on board. Played 1 game this year in the NBA, been in the G League otherwise, scored 5 points for the Raptors earlier this year. Just a depth guy. I mean, this is nothing super notable for Boston, but, you're kind of the end of the year, maybe you load manage a little bit. A guy like Juwan Morgan can eat a little bit of minutes. He's played in a handful of games in his career, more than a handful, actually. 1.5 point rebound. Actually shoots the ball decently well. He's played well in the G League throughout his career, but this is a fringe NBA player. No expectations. I would not expect him to do anything other than, late in the game minutes when the game is out of reach. Maybe if you have a load management night, he gives you some minutes, but this is just to help you get through the last 5, 6, 7 games of the season. That's all this is about. I like the frame, 6'7", 230, good athlete. Just hasn't quite been good enough coming out of Indiana to be a true everyday NBA player, but an opportunity for him to show what he's got and, if nothing else, to send a message before next season to try and land with a team in the NBA. So we'll see if he actually does anything for Boston, but again, no expectations, just a little 10-day contract. Grade the signing. Hey, why not? Take a stab at it. A, B, C, D, or F. Give it a C because I got no expectations. 10-day contract, there's no such bad thing as a 10-day contract. These hoodies also aren't bad either. In fact, they're awesome. You should get one right now. Chatsports.com/Celtics hoodie, 25% off. Still got plenty in stock for you guys, and that sale will continue as it starts to warm up. Good deal for you guys to get a hoodie right now. Chatsports.com/Celtics hoodie. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description of this video. We will have you guys hooked up right there. Okay, let's take a look at where Boston sits right now in the Eastern Conference pecking order. 1 through 4 all within a game of each other. Miami jumped back up to the 1 seed after a few of these teams lost. Philly a game back, 2 back in the win column, no games back in the loss column. Same with Boston, and then or with Milwaukee, and then Boston 1 less win, 1 more loss. So all 4 of those teams mathematically within 1 game of Miami, who leads the way. You look at the Celtics' remaining schedule. You've got the Miami Heat coming up. That's kind of a do or die if you're trying to win the East, right? You lose that game, you fall 2 games back with 5 to go. Probably not going to make up that ground, so you need to win that one. But it is at home. You got Indiana and Washington at home as well. If you beat Miami, you should win the next 2. At Chicago, that'll be a tough one, although the Bulls have been reeling as of late. At Milwaukee, that could determine 1 through 4 seeds as well. And then at Memphis, I mean, 4 of the final 6 are tough outside of Indiana and Washington, especially that 3-game road trip to end the regular season. Here's what I do know. If the Celtics are healthy, they're going to be tough to beat, not only down the stretch, but especially come playoff time. So regardless of if you're the 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, doesn't really matter. I will say this. If Brooklyn ends up being the 8 seed, do you want the 1 seed? I don't know. You may have to go through them at some point, so maybe catching them early is the way to go. But at the same time, I'm trying to avoid the Nets in the first round. I mean, could you imagine winning 50, 52 games and then losing in the first round because you drew the best 8 seed in NBA history with KD, Kyrie, and those boys? You don't want that. But at the same time, got to play to win. We'll see what happens over these final 6 games. Are the Celtics a finals-worthy team? Remember, like the video if you want them to win a championship. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Get your votes in down in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for the latest Celtics news and rumors. We'll have you guys covered. Closing in on now 9,000 subscribers. YouTube.com/CelticsTV. Subscribe today, and we'll get you guys up to date with more Celtics coverage.